Hi, I'm local attorney Courtney Holm. I've been asked by the Summit Combined Housing Authority and the Colorado Legal Services to help put together this informational video. Nothing in this video should be construed as legal advice, but it is for informational purposes. Today, we're talking about leases and security deposits. Let's talk about a contract. A lease is really a contract. It's an agreement between two parties, and you're governed by everything that's written in that lease. Remember that when you sign a lease, it's very difficult to break a lease. You can only do so by getting a written agreement from the landlord and the tenant agreeing to break the lease. If you aren't in agreement, you may want to seek other alternative outcomes, like going to mediation to try to see if you can have ways to break the lease. Don't just walk out of a lease. You are going to be liable for the entire lease term. So you want to break a lease. Well, remember, if you do so, you are going to be on the hook for the entire lease term. The only caveat is that the landlord does not have the ability to get money from another individual for that same lease term and that same property. Domestic violence sometimes interacts with leases, and a domestic violence victim may not be evicted immediately under safe haven laws. So if you're in that situation, you're going to want to seek some specific counsel for your situation to see if you have that safe haven to prevent being evicted from that property. The lease is the controlling document for the ability to stay in or let that property out. Everything that's in that lease controls every term, every right, whether it's the price of the property, whether it's who pays utilities, whether it's who has to shovel the snow. So make sure that you're familiar with the terms specifically in your lease, and if you do make changes, make sure that there's a written change and initials to any written changes. So you want to have a roommate and move in with some friends. Remember that when you're signing a contract with your friends, you're all liable together. If one of you doesn't pay the rent, all of you are responsible for the rent. So if you're a tenant, you want to do everything possible to try to get back your full security deposit. Make sure you leave the property in very good condition, take a video to show what kind of condition you've left the property in, and make sure that the landlord has your forwarding address. Remember, your landlord has to return your security deposit within 30 days or as much as 60 days if that's what your lease specifically says. And make sure that your address is on file with the landlord. If a landlord wrongfully withholds a security deposit, that tenant may be entitled to 3 times that security deposit amount. As a tenant, just because something may break on the premises does not necessarily mean that you don't have to pay your rent. You are still obligated by your lease terms and the amount of rent that's due each month. Make sure, whether you're the landlord or the tenant, that you have a copy of the lease, that you take pictures of the property, that you take a video of the property, so that you have a little bit more to stand on if there is a dispute later. We've just touched on a little bit of security deposits and leases. If you'd like more information, please contact the Summit Combined Housing Authority or Colorado Legal Services.